Hello and welcome to Cricbuzz. Have you gotten over the second ODI? I know I didn't. After I completed the review, I went and looked at footage, drew some lines, took some snapshots. I'm going to give you my opinion on the no ball. But more importantly, I'm going to get you guys to focus on the third one-day international because it's just around the corner between Australia versus India. Right, hand on my heart. Whilst I was in commentary, as I saw more replays, I felt that it was a no ball. I know this call has split the cricket community and probably it's based on where they live and who they support. Australian supporters are saying, fine, right call to be made, no ball. Indian supporters are saying, hang on, she's bent down, she's back in her crease, the ball still has to travel maybe 1 metre. The ball was definitely dipping. It should have been allowed to be carried on. And in that case, India would have won. As I looked at the footage a bit more, drew my own lines, it is an absolute line ball. We know that the umpire, the third umpire, only has a small amount of time to go through it, only has certain angles to look at it and made the decision. Looking at it a little bit further, and it took me a while to get to this opinion, I do think that it shouldn't have been called a no ball. I guess the question mark, and one of my fellow commentators around the world actually said, if it wasn't for the final delivery where she got out and India won, would it have gone up to the third umpire to be referred to? I don't know. I guess we'll never know. But it was a tough one. What India need to do is probably put that aside, because whilst you hate a decision like that to rule the outcome of the game, I do think India missed out on some opportunities to put the nail in the coffin. Their fielding unfortunately wasn't up to the mark. Poonam Yadav put down Beth Mooney early on, and she was the one that went on to score 125 not out. Also right at the end, Richard Ghosh threw the ball at stumps. The ball was really slippery because of the dew factor. So one thing I do hope that we see is that when we go to the day-night test match at Metricon Stadium at the Gold Coast, that ropes are employed during the drinks breaks to ensure that the dew isn't a factor or doesn't play as big a role for the team in the field during the night. Unfortunately in Mackay, those facilities weren't there. And I feel that whoever was fielding second was always going to be disadvantaged. It is also a skill that will take time, and India have not been exposed to these type of conditions before because, let's face it, women's cricket is played during the daytime. The other area that India probably need to improve, and maybe it was tactically an error by Mithali Raj, is that you've got your best bowler, Jhulan Goswami, who only bowled 8 overs in the entire match. Surely she's bowling her 10. But they stick with their spin and they found a tactic that they thought was working. However, the Australians were able to adapt, and Nicola Carey and Beth Mooney were able to find ways to keep up with that required run rate. India look a different side, don't they, when one of their openers goes, and this time it was Smriti Mandhana. And I reckon Shafali Verma is not far off it. And if Smriti Mandhana and Shafali Verma both go, boy, look out. India are certainly going to put on a huge total or be happy to chase a big total as well. In terms of the playing 11, will India make a change? I don't think so. I don't know where Harmanpreet Kaur is in terms of injury. I think with a finger injury, you're always concerned, especially on Australian bouncy tracks, and the fact that the Australian quicks are quite happy to bowl a short ball. Are they just saving her to get her right for the test match? I guess we'll wait and see. But if she was to come in, who is she dropping? Because I actually think the players like Yastika Bhatia and Richard Ghosh, they need to be played, they need to be exposed. Because at the end of the day, whilst India certainly want to win this series, and no doubt Australia do as well, both teams have got an eye on the World Cup. Even from an Australian perspective, whilst this streak is amazing, it won't mean anything if they lose in that 50 over World Cup. Everyone wants to win there. So however you can learn and adapt and expose players in the build-up is really the key to success come March in New Zealand. As for Australian playing 11, I don't think they'll make a change. The only change maybe is Rachel Haynes, if she's fit, she goes straight up to the top of the batting order. And guess who goes down? Player of the match, Beth Mooney. But they all know their role and they're very comfortable with that. I do expect Australia to make a change from a bowling perspective. Maybe Darcy Brown is rested. Will a Stella Campbell play her first one-day international, or a Maitland Brown? There is chances for them to expose some other players as well. So that may be the only change Australia will make. Right, I've got one player to focus on. And from an Indian perspective, it's Pooja Vastrika. Can you believe that she only picked up her first one-day international wicket last night? But she is such a talented player, and we saw that she was able to affect that run out of Elise Perry, dynamic in the field, bowls well, is getting better at it, happy to bowl some bumpers as well, which is really important given that the Australians like to stay on the front foot. And then you look at her batting and it's only going to get better. From a domestic point of view, she scored over 200 runs in 6 innings. So she is really important for India as they move forward to that World Cup. So look out for her. If last game is anything to go by, we are going to be in for an absolute cracker. Remember, it's a day game, so teams will want to chase. I hope we see another 550 runs scored and another last ball finish.